All right, now that you've seen the printer in the lab, let's talk about a few more details for our lab. So the official printer name this year is LETU Print version 6, V6, and again, it was designed by Connor Anderson. So these printers are a gift to you from SEAT, the School of Engineering and Engineering Technology. We spent, I think, somewhere over $300 just in parts for making the kits, putting them together, and so this is a valuable gift. I don't know of all the universities I've been at, I have never seen such a thing where the university gives a gift to students like this. So this is a very special project. Let's talk about a few of the benefits of the project. First of all, we want everything we do here to be to the glory of God. LETU is known as a community of builders, and so this is a good experience for engineers starting their career to start to be builders. We know a lot of you come in with different experience. Some of you have built lots of things. Some of you have probably built nothing. And so we wanted to help everybody kind of get on level ground and get some good building experience for future classes, because we have a lot of labs and we do a lot of prototyping and building and putting things together. That's one of the great things about LeTourneau, is that it's not just all theoretical knowledge. You're in there building and doing things. And so engineers are better engineers when they've, in your career, you're probably not going to be sitting around building 3D printers all day, but having done the building and understanding how things go together, when you're the designer on the other side of things, you will be a much better designer when you've struggled with getting a bolt into a certain place when it's designed in a funny way or things like that. It just makes you a much better engineer in the end. Okay. It also gives you some good exposure to a wide variety of engineering and engineering technology concepts. Just a few things off the top of my head for electrical computer engineering and engineering tech kind of things: motors, LED, the expansion board, just wiring and understanding the MKS board, the electronics and so forth. For mechanical biomed, interested in the way things move, pulleys, bearings, belts, the lead screws, all kinds of things like that. And for civil engineering, the structural kind of side of things maybe comes in. Just lots of good general engineering things to know. Again, another thing that's very good for engineers to have is a good work ethic. This is a hard project. It will take some motivation and dedication and stick-to-itness. Some endurance will be in order. It's good to work on hard things, and maybe the hardest thing you've ever built, but still, in the end, you will be quite happy that you've pulled through and done it. We know you can do it. We're here to help you. And so it's just a great experience in pushing yourself and seeing what you can do. Along those lines then, when you go through hard things with people, you do bond with people. So I see this as a good experience to get to know other students in your class, and also your TAs and myself. We're in it together, and it's going to be hard, but it is going to be fun. I've loved starting to build 3D printers and understanding them and playing with them, and it's just so much fun, and I know you will enjoy and have fun with it as well. And like I said, in the end, when it's all done, you can say, I built that, and there's great satisfaction in putting things together with your hands. On the other side then, when you have the printer built, they are quite useful tools. So this is, we want to give you the 3D printer and have you build the building experience, but then also it's a very useful thing to do all kinds of fun and useful things with. So like I said before, prototyping, the other part of this IEP1 class is doing the graphics, and so once you're good at that, you can design things and prototype things and change them again, and the printer is quite nice for trying something and then trying it again. You can do all kinds of things that would be a lot harder to do if you're, say, doing it in wood or metal or other type things that are a little bit more difficult to deal with. You can just print another copy after you design on the computer. And so along those lines, and when you get to be a sophomore, junior, senior, there will be lots of, and even maybe in IEP2, there are lots of future class projects where you can have some creativity and use your 3D printer to accomplish really neat things. I had one student last year tell me he made almost all of his Christmas presents with his 3D printer, so there's a side benefit for you. And just, if you haven't already, look at the things on Thingiverse. It's a website. So many models of 3D things. Anyway, it's just amazing. Okay, a little bit of advice for working in the lab. Ask questions. Okay, I asked the TAs a little bit of what kind of introduction you would need, and one of the first things they said was, don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask the TAs. Ask me. Figure things out. So we want you to be thinking about it and really understanding how this thing works, not just getting it put together as fast as you can, but ask questions, understand, ask some of the whys, make us think about it, and think about it yourself. You'll be much better off in the end. Another piece of advice they gave was read ahead. And so if you're looking at these instructions, these are manuals that we've written here as well. And so it may say, build the extruder assembly. Okay? And then after it says that, it will give you detailed steps of do this, do this, do this to build it. So don't just get carried away, read the first thing and then start building on your own without looking what's after it. So just kind of read, at least, if not the whole manual for that day, read at least section by section so you know what's ahead and you don't get ahead of yourself and make things harder on trying to put something together without having the instructions that are just right there. Okay, I want to go to a couple just general policies. This is not a group project. Everybody gets a printer. We want everybody to get the satisfaction of building their own. So don't steal other students' learning opportunities by doing things for them. Do it yourself. And you can definitely be friendly and discuss things and so forth, but still we want everyone to get the great experience of building and learning with their own printer. So let's look at this lab policies sheet here that's on Canvas and if you want to look at it later also, but let's talk about it here. So these are policies. Again, if you have any concerns, questions, send me an email, talk to me in class. As far as grades, you will have probably 7 different labs for the 3D printer build engineering lab project, and each lab will have a pre-lab with it. And so the labs and pre-labs, I guess we can say, are due 2 weeks from the day they are assigned in general. And so, for example, if Group A is given the lab on August 21st, it will be due September 4. Okay, that's not to say there might not be other things due since we have pre-labs and labs. And so it's good to, when you get assigned something, just make sure you get it done before the next time you have class. But there is a little bit of a grace period with this method. So for each lab, each pre-lab will have some individual steps within them, and you will have to sign off whenever you get each part completed. Have a TA or me look at it and check off what you've done. Okay. And then for a whole lab, maybe has 5 parts, and that will be completing the lab. And so once you get the lab completed, then you can have 100% credit if it's done before the due date. And this kind of table will show you if it's due before the due date, then you get 100% credit just for having it done, basically, correctly. And then if you take longer than 2 weeks, but less than 4, then it'll be 80%. And then for the rest of the semester, basically, you got 60% when you get it completed. Okay, there'll be a grade date chart on Canvas to help you with finding 2 weeks from when to when kind of things. These sign-offs, okay, we will have some grade sheets that have all the pieces that you need to do, and you will have to have one of the teachers of the class, or me or one of the TAs, sign off on each of the pieces, okay, of those labs. Okay. You can do your building, so if you don't, so sign-offs, that takes place in our pre-lab, lab, and we will have some nighttime or other alternate time labs that aren't the required lab times where you can also get things signed off. Okay, if you don't get your work done during the required lab times, you will be taking your printers home. We don't have room to store all your printers in class. You'll be taking them to your dorm room, and you can work on them there, hopefully getting them completed up until the next stage for the next lab. Okay, and again, remember it is an individual project. Attendance is approximately 29% of the lab grade, so come to class. I want to see you, so this is lab and pre-lab, see you there working and understanding, we'll be demonstrating things, there'll be tutorials, we'll be giving out some materials. Lots of things go on there, so you're expected to attend class, and you do get credit for being there. And if you miss, if something's going on, let me know. For the lab itself, bring all your parts. So bring your whole box, all your stuff to the labs. Okay, it's a working time. We've got a lot of tools in the lab, but you need your tools and your parts, and anyway, if you just bring part of it, chances are what you want will be back in your room. For the pre-labs, we're doing these over in Glassky, and we're not going to have all the tools there, so we've kind of tried to design these to be just small parts that you need to bring, so you don't have to bring your whole kit to the pre-labs, just the parts that you're working on that day. Again, if you want to, feel free to, but you don't have to. No food or drink in the lab except sealed bottles. It is a class time. Okay, we'll be taking attendance, and we expect you to stay there and work in the lab. Kits cannot be stored in the lab, and manuals are not issued early. We will give you the manuals according to the schedule, so everybody kind of stays in step, and things work as we go. For the open lab sessions, currently we're having labs from 7 to 9 on Monday and Wednesday, and I believe we're going to add one Monday afternoons also. I will put a schedule on Canvas, and we'll also probably post one on the Maker Lab door or near the door for you to know when those sessions are. So these are open ones that we will have the lab open. You can come and use the tools that are needed. If you didn't get your work done, you're up to, if you didn't get all the way completed with whatever lab or pre-lab you're working on, you can come here, you can get things signed off, and so forth. Again, to the open lab, these are your kind of free work sessions. You can bring the pieces you need, so forth. There is a limited amount of space in the Maker Lab, and so we will have a limit of 25 people working, but we may have a few that doesn't really count the ones if we're doing people are finishing up the inventory or getting things signed off. Those are kind of counted separately. Okay, so that's the lab policies, and again, any questions, concerns, let me know. And then finally, I want to look at the schedule just a little bit. You've made it to class, so that's good, but let's look at the rest of this week's schedule a little bit. And so we are having basically 3/4 of you will get your kits to this week. Some of you will, or the first week of classes, some of you will get them the second week of classes. And everybody needs to do pre-lab first and then lab, but because of this week and this, let's actually look at this other schedule, the colorful version of the schedule here, to see where you're going to be. And so if you're in group B, for example, you'll meet in the Maker Lab on Tuesday, and then Thursday you're going to meet in Glassky 106 or 109. Let's just say 109, 106 for this column, 109 for here. Okay. Similarly, if you are in group D, you're meeting in Glassky on Tuesday, but then you will meet in the Maker Lab on Thursday. All right. This first week is special because of no ability for the Tuesday group to have a pre-lab last week, and so we have extra sessions here and this week, but generally there'll be only two building sessions going on at each day, one in the Maker Lab and one over in Glassky. Okay, so I think that's all I have. We're going to do a little bit of a system here to hand out your kits. We have some different colors of plastic parts, so we'll have kind of a lottery or what have you, have you draw a number out of something, and that will give you the order that you can pick up your kit and so forth. But just listen to the TAs and myself for instructions, and we'll be getting you parts and getting you started on your inventory, checking off. For the inventory, you need to go through your whole kit, look at all the pieces, check off what you have and don't have, and make sure that it's all in there correct, what you're supposed to have. Because later, so once you sign that off, you're signing that you have it and you're responsible for it. And so if later in the semester it's like, oh, I only have 3 motors. Well, you signed that you have 4, so you'll have to anyway, probably pay for another motor or whatever part it is, you'll be responsible for. So today's the day, or this pre-lab is the time to check it over carefully, make sure you have everything it says you're supposed to have, so that later in the semester you don't come up short. And so count carefully and be clear on what's what so that you know that you have what you're supposed to have. And have fun. Let's go.